Next, we go to war. This one's strange. Something's happening here, and I can't really put my finger on it yet, but it's not good. Not good. Let me show you this. Do you remember this video? This video we ran when I was over at Fox. The IDF will routinely inspect flotillas heading to Gaza to ensure that there are no weapons on board and the aid is truly humanitarian and everything else. Nearly all the time, these inspections happen without incident. But this flotilla was different, and we knew about this flotilla going in. We knew about it because we covered it almost live as it happened. The IDF soldiers were ambushed and immediately attacked by activists and beaten with iron bars. Some soldiers were stabbed. I know these things because we have the video. There they are, beating them. We have the video. I've talked to members of the IDF. I've talked to leaders of Israel. It's very clear what was going on. One of the soldiers was tossed overboard. An activist wrestled a gun away from an Israeli soldier and opened fire. The Israelis then shimmied down from helicopters and returned fire, and 9 activists were eventually killed in the fight. This was clearly a case of self-defense. No one in the media covered it. We did. I covered it for months, the only one that was covering it. But now, nearly 3 years later, something happened over the weekend. Israel formally apologized for this. They're paying compensation to activists and the families? I saw the video. What's up with that? Israel doesn't apologize for things when they know they're in the right. So why now? What's different? We are the United States of America. We have virtually no power left. This apology indicates the disillusion of America's long-standing with a strong alliance with Israel, and I think a signal to the rest of the world. We don't count anymore. Even Andrea Mitchell called Obama's and Netanyahu's relationship one of the worst she's ever seen.
It's gotten off on the wrong foot, and they're trying to fix it, but it is one of the worst relationships I can remember, and I've covered every president going all the way back to Ronald Reagan.
Yeah. No, he's the best friend. Israel understands this. It understands that it can no longer count on America to watch her back. So they're going to start playing their own game now. And right now, they're just trying to buy as much time possible. I think they know that they're appeasing Turkey's anti-Israeli prime minister, a good friend of Barack Obama's. And they know they're not going to win him over. But I think they hope that they're going to slow him down. I'm not entirely comfortable with this explanation of what's going on, but so far it's the best theory that I've heard or read, and it seems to make sense. But something else is afoot. There is a clock that has been started on the war front. Something has started. One thing that stuck out with President Obama is that he is oddly beating the war drums on Iran, saying they're going to do everything possible to prevent Iran from getting nuclear weapons. He's gone on and on about this.
And I will repeat, all options are on the table. We will do what is necessary to prevent Iran from getting the world's worst weapons.
He's starting to sound more like me 5 or 6 years ago. I've been saying for years that Iran is the head of the snake. It's not Iraq. It's not Afghanistan. It's Iran. And I've been warning that this is extraordinarily dangerous because they believe in creating world chaos. Why? Because it will hasten the return of the 12th Imam. Who's the 12th Imam? Ones that radical Islamists believe is the savior of all mankind. Others, who shall remain nameless at this point, may think that he might be the literal Antichrist. And no, not this guy who, come on, let's be serious. He looks just like Barack Obama. Come on. How do you deny it? How do you deny it? It's like father and son here. Just like the guy who last night played Herod. See this guy? Do you think it's a coincidence that this guy looks just like Harvey Weinstein? I don't think so. Anyway, just a few months ago, the vice presidential debate, Joe Biden was laughing about Iran, dismissing the possibility of war. Do you remember?
This is a bunch of stuff. Look, here's the deal.
What does that mean, a bunch of stuff?
Well, it means it's simply inaccurate.
It's Irish.
It is. We Irish call it malarkey.
Thanks for the translation.
The only reason why I'm bringing this up is because they were so clear they had there was no war, there was nothing with Iran. And now I keep reading, and most of the people in the mainstream media I don't think is noticing it. Most people who are watching the mainstream media are noticing, but there's a change. What has changed? Why is Mr. Diplomacy now threatening war? Why is this so important all the time? Even a few sources of ours have come up and said, oh, there's war right on the horizon. Why? Why? Because this is now the last thing that we should be doing. Because that will set the Arab world on fire. Is it that now's the time? Because if you set the Arab world on fire, you could set the whole world on fire? So the Iran situation is escalating. And then on top of it, you have the latest from Syria. Why is no one really talking about this? The opposition has a new prime minister in Syria. Going to head up the effort to form a new government post-Assad. Who is he? Well, he's a friend of ours. He's a good friend of ours. This guy, he was great. He was born in Damascus. Then he left Syria in 1980 and became a naturalized American citizen. In fact, he was neighbors with us. I didn't know this at the time. Wish I would have known. He resided right here in Texas. He was the choice of Syria's Muslim Brotherhood. Isn't that great? Now, there was one objection, besides mine, to his appointment from the Free Syrian Army. And wouldn't you know it, I mean, such bad luck. The day after they announced that they were against the Muslim Brotherhood's guy, there was a bad, nasty car crash. And, well, it wasn't a crash as much as it was. And he gets himself blown up. So it was just a coincidence. And what timing, huh? I mean, cars mysteriously explode all the time, especially, I don't know, I haven't checked yet, but it might have been a Chevy Volt. This is all about the Brotherhood. Hittu is the man now, and he's been there for quite some time. If you look at his resume, boy, he loves the Muslim Brotherhood, the Islamic Society of North America, the North American Islamic Trust, the Muslim American Society. He was a representative for CARE, who definitely has nothing to do with terror or Muslim Brother. What? Many of these groups have been identified as part of the Muslim Brotherhood. Now, he went to Turkey just at the end of last year, last December. And then he goes to Syria just a few days ago. Isn't that weird? So this guy was living right down the street from us. There's the studio, right there, the Texas. There's the Blaze Studios. A little black dot. That's the Muslim Brotherhood guy. We were neighbors. Why did we have barbecue? Go see a Cowboys game. The next day, he's over in Syria as the new prime minister of the opposition forces fighting to get a Muslim Brotherhood Egypt-style government implemented post-Assad. Whoa, that's weird. It's almost like this is further confirmation that everything in our documentary called The Project was true. The Muslim Brotherhood has infiltrated the White House, this administration. It is alive and well inside of our borders, even the great state of Texas. And you know what else is weird? That America was running guns from Benghazi to the Syrian opposition. At the same time, he went over to Turkey. Our boats were landing in Turkey. And we knew full well that those guns were landing in the arms of radical Muslim Brotherhood fighters. It's almost, again, like what we reported, that nobody else did, about Benghazi attack being connected to gun-running operations are true. Wouldn't it be nice if somebody else would connect the dots from time to time? Here's something else nobody else bothers to report on or connecting the dots on. America's popularity in the Middle East. Guess what? We are so popular right now. Support for the United States of America in Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Pakistan is great. It's lower, a little lower than it was in 2008 in the closing year of George W. Bush. But hey, you know, we face some headwinds. Our approval rating now, do we have it? Our approval rating right now is 15%. Okay, like I said, a little lower, you know, it's down about 20% in the last 4 years, down from 35% during the last year of Bush. It was so bad at 35, this guy was going to save us, and now it's at 15%. Wait a minute, that sounds a little like bottom up. Now, why is our approval rating so low in the Middle East? Because we have the Savior, right? Here's why. Because at least during the Bush, Clinton, Reagan years, we did go to bed with dictators that we didn't like. I mean, we were in bed with dictators and we're like, ugh, I just can't get clean. But now we're seducing them. Now we're taking brutal Islamic thugs and we're dressing up in something low-cut and lacy. Say, is that a bomb in your pants, Mr. Muslim Brotherhood, or are you just excited to see me? That's what's happening. We're propping up the Muslim Brotherhood, a band of radical Islamists who want to control every aspect of human life. Kind of sounds like the progressives, doesn't it? They are worse than the previous dictators. And we're putting lipstick on these pigs, and my apologies to pigs. Look at the words of Mohammed Morsi this weekend about those people on the streets, bottom up, that are protesting him. He said this weekend, if I am forced to do what is required to protect this nation, then I will do it, and I fear that I might be on the verge of doing it. Uh-oh. That doesn't sound good. Sounds an awful lot like what Adolf Hitler said right after the Night of Long Knives. President Obama supported this guy as well. No wonder people hate us. The top is coming down even more, and the bottom continues to rise. And we are sowing the seeds of discontent, literally, arming the Syrian opposition and funding a civil war, and wooing the opposition leaders in the wings. And who stands with Assad? You're going to love that. You never get New Alliance, war with Iran, Muslim Brotherhood in Syria. We were gun running. Bottom up, discontent on the Arab streets. Nobody likes us anymore. We have a new alliance. This is inside out. We're empowering the Muslim extremists, and we're also making enemies of Russia. Wait a minute. That's right. That's right. They stand with the other side, don't they? Wait a minute. Those are the same guys that the Western banks pissed off. Just what could possibly go wrong here? Nothing, I'm sure. When we come back, the last piece of top down, bottom up, inside out, we go to guns.